So I told the guy, pound sand. Oh, hey, it's Dan.
And Rob.
And you are not pounding sand, but you are with a mind body melt. Today's topic is a good one. I'm very, 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 very passionate about this one. This topic is entitled, I'm going to stop the car, is entitled Savor the Moment. This title came about after dealing with some frustrations. And we talked about frustrations in previous videos, about expectations, yada yada. But it's more so I see people doing a disservice to themselves by not savoring certain moments. So for instance, this morning, Rob and I took another yoga class, it's almost like our Sunday morning church. And if you go to church, that's great. Yeah, if you go to temple or whatever you do to worship.
Whatever your religion is, whatever floats your boat.
Don't discriminate.
Right.
But for us, yoga is kind of like our church. And the most amazing thing happened. So amazing class, moving around like a pretzel and sweating, and the room's 95 degrees. It's all great. At the end, as you know with most yoga classes, there is a thing called savasana or shavasana. Tomato, whoever wants to...
Let's call the whole thing off. That is an old song, by the way.
So if you know that one...
Much older than anybody who's watching this would readily admit to.
So if you know that reference, you are old. Anyways... Not
tomato, potato,
Oh,
potato.
I've heard that.
Let's call the whole thing off. Da, 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 da.
When you have a chance, you can look up that video. Anyways, so at the end, there's a moment where you meditate, and you're lying on the ground. They kind of just let you sit there in the stillness and absorb everything you just did. And after the class is over, the teacher will say, come up and, let's kind of hands at heart center and bow and say namaste. After that moment, there is probably a good minute before the teacher finishes her talking, at least for us, and gets up and turns a light on. And in that moment, it's the most amazing stillness and quiet and gratitude, and you feel connected with everyone in the room. It's really fucking beautiful. And instead of just having people just sit there and just like breathe and really take in the practice, yes, they were doing it during the savasana, but this is the point where it's like you're actually upright and you can take it in. Instead of just taking a little more moments to absorb it and feel that moment, what do? They get up, they check their phones, they're wiping down mats, and usually the lights don't come back on for a good 30 seconds to a minute. And it's like, what's the fucking rush?
Right.
Like, what's the rush? Like, you're just going to spend every second of your day rushing to the next thing. You finally took something for your day to just enjoy it. And these moments in life they're so rare where you can just absorb such stillness and calm. But instead, it's like, whoop, gotta go. It's
off to the races.
And I want to say I'm frustrated, but I'm really not. I just feel almost, what's the right word? Just surprised that people can't absorb like the most beautiful moment you'll have in your day, in your week, in your month, because you feel you have to rush to something that's most likely, if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, probably meaningless.
They don't take time to reflect.
Yes.
Almost.
Yes.
I don't know if...
Yes.
Were you done?
I
don't
go
know
ahead.
if you were done. I don't want to be rude and grab the mic away from you.
Take it.
But yeah, people don't take the time to reflect on what they just accomplished, because you know what, that hour of time, that solitude that you seek, it's yours. No one can take that away from you. And to just say, okay, well, I'm done with that, I've discarded that, I'm moving on to the next thing.
It's not even a slow transition, it's an immediate runaway.
It's almost like we as a society, we're caught up in that. Go, move on. And the thing with the phone, Jesus Christ. Excuse me, sorry, Jesus.
Jesus, Mr. Christ, and...
I'm like, I'll rephrase that. The thing with the fucking phone. Oh my God. Fucking thing. We'll do it live! That's another.
That'll be another video.
Anger. By the way, anger is a gift. I truly believe that.
It is?
So, yeah.
Yes, we will address that.
And we'll address that at some point in time. You'll be like, what the hell's that mean? But the thing is flitting from moment to moment and not even living in the moment. It's almost like when you see people, they're constantly, and in the previous video I talked about Disney, one of the things that I noticed too is everybody is so caught up in capturing a moment. Look, we're doing a selfie right here.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I'm videotaping this. Oh, I'm doing this, doing that. It's like, don't take the time to just actually put the phone down and experience
They don't.
the moment.
They experience the phone. They don't experience the moment.
That's
itself.
right. And then, we can look at it later. Like when we leave, we can go look at it. Yeah, but did you live in that moment? Did you have that gratitude of the thankfulness of living in the moment, where it's like I'm experiencing this right now as we speak? Because there's something to be said for that.
I agree.
Instead of like, okay, we lived that. Okay, now to move on to the next thing and the next thing. It's almost like this, it's almost as if.
Ooh, you see it.
Oh. As we bounce.
I heard this on a podcast, and I'm actually going to steal it, and I
Yes.
love it. I think it's from the Aubrey Marcus podcast, but he was saying, him or his guest was saying, like, are you going to chase a dopamine spike or a serotonin spike? Ooh, or well, what he was saying was dopamine spikes are like, boom, next thing, hit.
Immediate gratification.
Immediate, drug, where serotonin's kind of a longer term thing. And if you can get the serotonin feel and intake, it's kind of like you're savoring that moment and you're just being in it, because that serotonin's long-term happiness. Well, serotonin equates to your happiness, but what he was saying was, in those moments, if you can just enjoy the moment, it's more of a serotonin thing than just dopamine. Oh, dopamine. Dopamine.
It's the equivalent of a sugar high.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna eat this quick. I'm gonna have a ho-ho or a big wheel. Remember? Ho!
I didn't even know.
And we're just gonna heat that and have the sugar, and it's like, okay, woo, we're good to go, and then you just have that crash. And
it's like,
and then you have to sustain it. You have to keep sustaining it, and it's this vicious cycle. It's over and over and over.
Even with this video, are we giving you enough stimulation to constantly keep you engaged, or can you just can you? And now you're definitely engaged, and that woman is horrified. Can you actually watch the full video and just take it in as a moment and just get the serotonin receptors going and not dopamine just constantly chasing? You experienced something too where people just can't settle for a second. They have to rush. I think it was on a plane you were saying, something like that.
Yeah, I just came back from the aforementioned Disney trip. But this happens all the time when I travel. Travel for business. Happen to travel with my family, and I had to make note, because once again, people are sheeple.
We're hitting some potholes, so stay with us as we.
So, my wife looked over and she saw people getting up from their seats. The plane comes to a landing.
Yep.
It's rolling in. It's basically coming in for a stop. Everybody's getting settled. The lights come on. Immediately, everybody jumps up. Why? You're not going anywhere.
You're standing in line for a good 3 to 10 minutes.
And you're just
Usually
standing.
It's 10 minutes.
And people are jockeying for position. So, of note, there was a gentleman, an older gentleman, who sidled up to me. I guess that's the word, sidled up to me. Like, he's standing right next to me, and he's just kind of leaning on me.
Get off.
And I overheard his conversation. He said something like, "Oh, me and the missus, we gotta get out of here, and we gotta travel up to like that, and we gotta get going." Well, he's an older gentleman, okay, like a grandfatherly type guy. So he's just leaning into me, and at one point, I just kind of do this, and I look up at him like that, and he looks down at me, and he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in your way." And
yeah,
within earshot of the entire plane, I said, "Why, no, of course you can go ahead of me, sir." I said, "You're obviously important, and you have things to do. I overheard you. You have to go to so-and-so and blobbity-blobbity-blob." I think my wife at that point just wants the world to swallow her up, because it's just like, I say it loud enough, and he's probably thinking to himself, is he being disrespectful or is he being courteous? So he can't really respond, but the damage was done because he just kind of humbly stood back. So when I stood up to get my bag, he gave me leeway. I kind of shamed him.
But
actually.
in a way, though, it's kind of like I call it ego shaming. Well, not even shaming. It's more destroying his ego, where it's kind of like he thinks he's so important and he has to go somewhere. He's not considering everyone else on the plane and their needs. He's trying to burst his way through. But after you said that, he realized, well, maybe I don't need the rush. Maybe I can just take a second, breathe, and go.
I actually think I did him a favor.
I think you slowed him down and took him out of this go, go, go mentality, even though it could come across as a little bit mean. But sometimes you have to shake people out of their zombie-like go, go, go mentality. It's just selfishness.
I actually heard the other day, I was listening to something, and somebody was high-powered executive, blah, blah, blah. And I think it was a podcast, or I was watching something. And this gentleman, this individual says what he actually does is he puts signs all over his office.
Yeah.
And they all say, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down.
I like
because he's constantly in this frenetic state.
Mm.
And when he looks up and he sees slow down, it takes him that moment to acknowledge that, process it, and he slows down. I mean, it just instinctively.
It's like subconscious, subliminal affirmations.
That's right, by Menon.
I like
you know, it's like, where is it? It's not here anymore. My Pillow. It's the same thing. If you see it over and over and over, and you're like, I gotta have this thing. I don't know why. I gotta have it. I just gotta have it.
Like
so if you put something up there, slow down.
Or breathe.
Or breathe. That's another thing. I saw a woman with, it said breathe on her arm. It was a tattoo. And I think that there's a lot to be said for that on so many different levels.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to expound upon that.
Oh my God.
That's your forte.
Even us making these videos, sometimes we get so excited we forget to. We're going through this light.
We forget to stop at a red light.
It was yellow. Yeah, maybe.
I'm driving.
No, I'm even thinking too. Even anything we do in life, we just go, breathe. And when you actually slow down to breathe, you can enjoy everything. Even things that aren't enjoyable, if you just breathe in the moment, it makes it that much better.
Yeah.
You're not in your head; you're just in the moment. It's
Well, getting back to yoga, think about that.
Back to yoga.
Everything's focused on the breaths.
Yep. So in yoga, when you're cueing somebody, which I learned, I'm in yoga teacher training school. It's
Ooh, fancy schmancy.
It's breath. It's breath, movement, and drishti, which is drishti is what you say where you're taking your gaze. So you say, inhale, lift the arms up overhead, look up toward the ceiling. So every move starts with a breath. That's why yoga is so powerful. It's not just move and hold your breath. It's breathe, and then move. Ooh, a hawk. You do that with everything.
But see, notice that you took the time to look up at that. Look at that, the beauty of nature.
Mm-hmm. It was a hawk, and it was beautiful. You don't see them too often. Anyways, you're right. But yeah, where can you just take a fucking second and goddamn breathe, or just breathe? No goddamn. God's a good person too.
Damn it, breathe. Just breathe. Sorry.
Don't apologize. I like it. But yeah, just amazing. So look in your daily life and see where are people just on autopilot going. Like, are you out at dinner and you just can't enjoy a good meal because you have to be on your phone, or you try and do the next thing, or you're taking a fitness class, or you're exercising, and you just can't focus on the moment. It's cool when you actually breathe into a moment. You notice so much more. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And if you're a person on a plane and the plane lands, for God's sakes, just
sit down.
Just
stay
relax. If you need to get up and maybe stretch your back, that's okay, but don't jump in the aisle and try to crowd. You're getting off at the same time, the exact same time. Something else that I found always interesting too is, like, if you're on a plane and you don't have any carry-on luggage, maybe you just have a bag you're putting under your legs or something like that. Why are you rushing the first person on a plane? Because you're going to sit there for a longer period of time, and you're going to, get your back even tighter because you're just sitting for a longer period of time.
Right.
When I go on a plane, if I have an assigned seat, I go on last.
Right.
I'm the last person on, and I'm stretching before I get on the plane. I'm not going to just get on there, sit there. Let's go!
Stare straight ahead.
We're going to magically fly through the air in a tube in the sky. It's going to be amazing. But it's going to take off when it's going to take off. I'm always the last person on. And people always stare at you like, oh, he's late. It's like, oh, okay. Okay. Um, so try that too. If you have an assigned seat and no carry-on, go on last. Your lower back will appreciate it.
Yes.
I promise. Any other thoughts?
No, I think that's about it for today. I mean, we kind of belabored the point, pounded it into the ground, picked it up again, beat it down into the ground again,
Put it down.
picked it up again, pounded it again, made it malleable,
There you go.
stretched it out, form fit, boom, right at you.
I like
How
it.
about that?
There you go.
How do you
So,
like them apples, huh?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm,
huh?
mhm, sure. Yep.
So, on that passive-aggressive note, on that note, savor the moment.
Yes.
Don't race the next thing constantly, because life is kind of like that, where you're just racing to the next thing, racing.
Trust me, it's going to be over soon enough. Okay.
Seriously.
So
One day you're gonna be old, and you look back at your life, and you look at I literally just ran around
I ran
nonstop,
around and accomplished nothing.
constantly
What
chasing.
did I chase? Bro.
Constantly chasing. Constantly. When all you have to do is enjoy the simplest moments. You can literally have nothing.
Choose slower, eat slower,
Mm.
put the phone away,
We have a
breathe,
thing.
look around you. Oh, it's a big pile of dirt. Okay, that's beside the point. But look around you. You might see something pretty. You might see something worthwhile
Could
in
be
your life.
a diamond in the rough.
That's right.
You mentioned meals. We have a thing we're supposed to do in yoga school, where it's you have one yoga meal a day, and what you do is it's kind of long, but you take a bite, you put down your fork, and you chew, and you take your time, and then once you have swallowed that, you pick up the fork again or spoon, and take another bite. It's the most amazing thing. You will actually taste more flavors in your food than you ever thought possible, instead of just, as you said in the previous video, stuffing food in your mouth, inhaling the coffee cup, where the guy's pretty much
Eating the coffee.
fucking eating the coffee cup. It's really that. It's just amazing. Just slow down. Moments. Life is lived in the moments. Life is lived in tension. Life is lived in the moments. It's not lived on a cell phone. It's not lived in chasing the next thing. Even watch this video. Right, look at right now. It's light. It's really light outside. Now watch this. We go from light to darkness. Look how nice that is. Look how clear everything is. Look how big my head is. It's huge.
You got a huge squash.
It's a gigantic head.
And I have like a pinhead, so that compounds.
So it
your
makes
head
yours
look
look
that much bigger.
But we probably would have never even noticed that if we weren't just slowing down
That's right.
and enjoying the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you notice, every time we come in a garage, my voice gets really relaxed.
And it usually marks the end of yet another motoring with
An-
Mind Body Melt.
Another motoring. So, what I love,
We've almost come to our destination.
almost there. We're going to train that client eventually.
The elusive client. Where is he, she, it?
So, anyways, I would love for you to savor the moment. Take a breath. Feel. Breathe into it. And for the love of God, stop fucking running around like a crazy person.
Yeah.
Like a chicken with their head cut off.
Doesn't make a difference at all.
No.
Doesn't.
You will enjoy your life.
Your life's that important.
You will enjoy life that much more if you just slow down and breathe. Until next